Go ahead.
I'm Denis Hayes. I was the national coordinator of the first Earth Day back in 1970, when Earth Day was really a United States Environment Day. This year it's really Earth Day in 190 countries around the world, and I'm chairman of that effort.
Great. So my first question is, does Earth Day matter?
Oh, I sure hope so. Otherwise, I've kind of wasted my life. There's an incredible asset, I think, in causing, particularly now that the major environmental issues that are continuing to plague us are things that transcend national borders, to having an international day when people around the world come together to be concerned with this. It's not always on April 22nd, it may be a week before or a week after, but a focused time where there's almost the creation of a planetary consciousness, without meaning to sound too flaky about all of that. If it were the human rights field, or if it were peace, or if it were really any other international cause, anti-torture, landmines, I think they would all kill to have a day like this that is embraced by the planet and when people can actually focus upon their issues.
Okay, great. And so how is environment...
Isn't that just about as weird as it gets? The peace group would kill to have a day like this. I might want to rephrase that. All right, whatever.
So how is environmentalism different today than, say, 10 or 40 years ago?
Well, 40 years ago, environmentalism didn't much exist. We had thousands of groups that were focused upon pesticides, focused upon saving wilderness areas, focused on lying down in front of bulldozers to try to preserve their vibrant urban neighborhoods from having a freeway closure, herbicides in Vietnam, air pollution and water pollution and toxins. I mean, the whole list was out there, but they didn't think that they really had much of anything to do with one another. And probably the principal thing that came out of Earth Day was to weave all of those disparate threads into something where we encompassed them all, asked them all to become actively engaged in planning things, and wove it, or began to weave it into the fabric of modern environmentalism, so that combined they were far more powerful than any of them were just working individually.
Okay, great. And so what is the most important thing a person could do today to help the environment?
When one is trying to figure out how to help the environment, it operates in at least three different spheres. What you can do as a citizen, what you can do as an employee, and what you can do as an individual. As a citizen, I think we need to become more intense about this issue. It's a tragic aspect of American politics, but no longer is it something where simply having majority support is truly helpful. We find ourselves in the situation where almost all elections are won or lost by 3, 4, 5 percentage points. And if you will have as your preliminary screen keeping grandma away from the death panels, or your ability to carry a Colt into Starbucks, and you vote on that versus anything else, then you can tilt 3, 4, 5% of the points, and you have wildly disproportionate power. Environmentalists tend to care about peace, they care about the nature of the economy, they care about healthcare, they care about the environment, and they weigh all of those things. We have to have some fraction of them that care now about the environment as a screaming issue, and in particular about climate change. If 31 years after the National Academy said it was time to begin acting on climate change, your congressman still won't do the right thing, it's time to throw that congressperson out, no matter what else they do. Second, as an individual, on the climate issue, and the energy issue, which is the dominant one today, the most important area of activity is your house. It's the biggest consumer of energy, and that includes your appliances, your furnace, your air conditioning, what have you. Second is your automobile. You want to have the smallest and most efficient one that legitimately serves all of your needs. Third, interestingly, is your diet. And it turns out that moving toward a low meat or no meat diet that is organic and is mostly locally grown is vastly more important and is not processed by agribusiness is a huge contributor. And overarching all of it, probably the most important decision may be to have 1 or 2 children, because that sends out the vectors that will continue into the future. And then finally, as a worker, employee, boss, you need to make sure that your company is doing everything that it can to be a responsible corporate citizen. That often means being a whistleblower, being a troublemaker, or simply being a really good, constructive, well-informed critic who gets them to move in the right direction fast.
Okay. Great. And
That was a really long answer, sorry.
that's okay. It was helpful and insightful. So imagine Earth Day 2020. What do you think it will look like 10 years from now?
Well, I hope that I'm on the right side of the grass to know what 2020 will be like. That will represent a half century of modern environmentalism. And I'm hopeful that rather than having quite so many protests, that by the time we get to 2020, Earth Day will really deserve to be a celebration. That we will have behind us something that has placed a price on carbon and encouraged all of those industries who will move us swiftly into a sustainable, green, new form of prosperity, and that we will be well on our way toward having a planet that has a future. And the alternative to that is so bleak that I don't even want to think about it.